Right. Okay, so we're talking about open learning, and one of the things which is there in the corner of the slide, it says children, youth, and families. So open learning isn't about just the child, but it's actually about the whole family. And that's very important because it's not about somebody's education, but it's about living life. And in a way, that is where our journey started. We started asking this question way back as to what is the purpose of education. And somehow the answer that came back to us when we looked around was that the purpose of education seems to be to live. And that was like a stunning answer for us. It took us some time to say, wow, yeah, that sounds really logical, as well as fits in into our social, emotional being as we are. And the very aspect of that, if the purpose of education is to live, which means education, living, learning are all synonyms or kind of happen together, then it's the automatic conclusion is that the learner, let's say the child, or whether it's learner is the child or me, we need to lead ourselves. That's what life is. We lead our life. We say I'm living, or I'm leading. I'm the one who's deciding what I want to do in life. And that made a lot of sense to us. When we worked with children, we also saw that all of them just want to do that. More than activities, subjects, concepts, play, skills, more than any of that, they're constantly leading themselves, especially if you look at toddlers, even teenagers, actually any age, if you look at, right? Uh, so so what is open learning? Open learning says, first of all, it's open. It's open to all possible options. And out of which comes out these four key thoughts. The first is we don't need to bind the learner with anything specific. The learner can decide literally what the learner wants to learn. The child can decide that. And not just they can decide, they're very capable of deciding because their decisions comes from their interest. What is their energy? And we also realize that the world is full of options and opportunities. Why package some five subjects or 10 subjects and say that's education? No, no, no. Everything is worth learning, right? From crochet to musics to carpentry to anything, actually. Everything, right? From juggling to bartending to you name it. Everything is worth living and learning, and there are people doing that. And isn't that beautiful? What if everybody was just doing one thing, right? That would have been so boring. The second thing is, once the children or the learners decide what they want to learn, they really figure out how they want to learn. It's typically a combination of so many things, including going to people and saying, teach me it. But the person whom you go to could be a peer, could be somebody older than you, younger than you, an adult, a grandparent, anybody actually. And one can be learning from YouTube, from internet, from apps, from books, from actually a lot of different ways, including doing it by oneself, right? And when you really look at that way, you realize that you know everybody in this world is dyslexic. Everybody has learning difficulty of something or the other. Now, just because you have learning difficulty of the subject in the school doesn't mean that that person should be thumbed down to say you are less than the other. That's terrible. Meaning, I can't think of a worse way to treat any human being's dignity. So it just opens up how somebody wants to live and interact and learn in this world. It's up to that person. Why should we judge and decide and say, no, this is the way, otherwise you are lesser? Absolutely not. And which is why the individuals learn from, if you look at this little slide, from anywhere and everywhere. Everything is a source of learning. And any experience, whether it's travel, whether it's doing, whether it's failing is so beautiful. So that becomes the core process, which is designed and developed and created by the child, by the learner, because he or she knows what is it that is attracting him or her. Yeah. The third aspect is actually very, very simple. None of us like being assessed. We don't want people to constantly checking on us, irrespective of our age, right? And but all of us do a lot of self-reflection. We also take feedback. We also interact. There's a lot of you know back and forth with the people around us, and that is where we need the community of family and relatives and friends and neighbors and so on. And which is why we don't understand this whole idea of examinations and tests. If I want to learn and do something, I learn and do something by doing it. That becomes my exam, the very act of of doing something. Yeah. Um, which also means that there's so many different things I will learn from so many different people, and it doesn't need to be boxed into that. Okay, this is the way I learn it, and this is the way I need to show it. Yeah, and that's life. We meet so many people, and we learn from everybody. uh, Finally, the fourth preposition is this whole concept of that there has to be a path, and there has to be a degree, and there has to be a certificate. Now, for somebody who wants it or likes it, great. Meaning, go ahead, please have your degrees and certificates. But that's not the only way, and all of us are fairly capable of having finding their own path and figuring out. In fact, so many of us leave our degrees and college education or whatever education we get, and I start doing things totally different from what we passed out in, right? So it just doesn't make sense. If that was the case, everybody should just strictly stick to the degrees. If we are anyway going to do something else, why are we insisting on that? That needs to be a major way of how I want to live or learn. So that's broadly what open learning is based on. We can obviously discuss much more in today's time. And at the core of it, we are saying the child or the learner is the leader, and he or she is responsible for herself. This transaction of giving the responsibility back to the child, if we have taken it away from the child, is amazing, because that is the core. It's not about freedom. People say, oh, open learning means child can do whatever. That's not true. We technically, we are not free in this world. I can't drive anywhere and anyhow on the road, right? I'm not free in that sense. I have to follow the rules of the road. In the same way, there's so many things we need to do to be able to live. So in that sense, we are not free, but we have the responsibility of where we are going, how we are going, what speed we want to go, who with whom we want to go. So the journeys are very open. Right. Okay. So very quickly, typically an open learner's journey goes through these broad stages. Very young, they start with a lot of exposure. They're hungry for exposure, and they start exploring things that they like, and that will differ from individual to individual. And as they grow older into teenage years, they start getting deep diving into things that they really like. That's the expertise stage. And as and when the learner wants to get into the job of making money or earning money, they move their expertise into the enterprise stage. Not to say that in expertise and enterprise we stop exposing and exploring ourselves. Kind of the journey continues, but that's broadly how a typical journey flows. Uh, a quick word about what is Aarohi. So Aarohi is a community of families. We are learning, creating, living, supporting each other wherever we are. So, like for example, Pranav and family are in Mumbai. That doesn't matter. They don't need to be physically. We don't need to be physically together. We are mentally together. We are physically together using the online tools. We also keep meeting, and so there's both the options of being at the campus uh, of Aarohi. You obviously, family's home is also a campus. You can meet other families. You can travel together. Basically, the whole world is ours. Uh, that is how Aarohi works. So Aarohi is not geographically limited to only one space. And the idea is to be together in this journey. That's the whole idea. Yeah. Also, very quickly, for children who are more than 13, 14, who are teenagers, who would like to also grow professionally and look at how would they like to either earn or at least become expert or professional in one or multiple fields, we have something called as CoVersity, where the youth get together. Let me skip these slides. Yeah, the teenagers get together, and then they do a lot of things. They basically develop themselves uh, professionally in their field. So while the group will have different areas of interest, but they are all together as a cohort, because at that age, at the teenage age, they like to be in a group of other youth and work together toward their professional goals. Obviously, they do that by doing a lot of industry work, and not do studies, but they actually learn by doing stuff, actual work. Actual industry work. So that's CoVersity. We can also talk about that more. CoVersity is part of RO. Yeah, that's the little slide of CoVersity. Yeah. Okay, so let me pause here. I think I took more time than I promised, uh, which I end up doing most of the time. So the floor is open. Some people have joined a little later. That's absolutely fine. please go ahead, ask questions, share your thoughts, views, or whatever you feel like. And yeah, it's a very informal discussion. So please feel free. Yeah, please, you don't have to raise hand, Rituparna. Just shoot. Just come to the mic and ask, or use the chat, however you feel. It's very, very informal. Please don't worry about it. We're all just families. There's nobody who is like, I'm just hosting. Me and Pranav are just hosting it. The rest is all open. Yeah.
So one thing that I have always felt very puzzled about uh, having a child at home, especially my elder one, not for her reading writing difficulty, but in general, she likes to be with people. Like that's the reason she spends like literally minutes at home. Her waking life is only out on under the sky, out on the sun. Now this, to be honest, I'm already a very defiant parent as far as the community is concerned because they play in the sun and the water and whatever. But at the same time, the environment here, and I do find like even if there are two children like that playing, I facilitate them even if those parents don't allow and so on. But the point being that it's very hard to, in that sense, fulfill where her interests are leading her. Like because like how long can an adult then be outside with them doing things, etc. There can be limited amount of travel or limited amount of like everyone has one has to be with her all the time if she wants to do things outside, etc. But her outside is also only play largely so far at least. So I mean I'm almost um, scared to think of a day when she doesn't have school and she has to be at home and there are no friends. If there were friends, then it's absolutely okay. And friends can be anybody who plays with her, but basically people around her. And that's not the case in a city environment. If I were, let's say, living in a place like Aarohi campus, it would be a very different ballgame. It would be completely all right for me also, for her also. But that's not the case here when I will have to operate from home. So, for example, my younger child, she, I can see she's self-led. Like she decides when she wants to do art, when she wants to go down cycle, when she wants to do, and finishes it to a reasonable degree of meaning. She knows when to start, when to stop. Basically, her she's driving herself. This one, in that sense, is not like that. Basically, looking for constant liberation from home, from school, from anything that ties her. Like a meal time is tight for her. Like to that extent because it's like why are you telling me to do something, that kind of a thing at all. Like I don't want to be like completely Mowgli kind of life she wants. So how do I even like if I ever have to, if she told me that I'm okay struggling with this aspect at school or I don't want to go, or she always says that no, I want to go to school and because there are friends. See
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
so and she gets place to play there, she gets to talk with, etc. So basically it's more liberating for her home. So she will, so if she said that okay, for whatever reason I want to do things on my own, don't force me, whatever, I would have let her be, but that's not the case. So my question is then, like, have you seen children like this or families like this, or um, this is the thing, like I want to be child led, but here I can't promise to fulfill her like innate needs, at least as of now. Innate, not innate needs, but desires, let's say. And I have also seen in some kind of structured learning, like let's say she's gifted as far as stage, she's like a born performer. Everyone who looks at, but if I like initially going to a music class or a dance class was quite a bit of tightening for me. Like she constantly refute because again there's structure. She doesn't like putting attention. And the conventional world calls her mild spectrum of ADHD, but basically it is hard for her when someone, okay, you sit down and sing, matlab, why do you have to sit down and
Sure, sure, sure.
run
Pranav,
around
you
and
want
sing?
to respond to Rituparna?
There are two.
No, I'll try. I'll try. Actually, it was a very long discussion, but I couldn't get the question actually.
Yeah.
I
So
don't think she has a question. She has a situation.
yeah.
So,
So
situation is just
are there families like children like this or whatever? Because I would be happy to lead life around that. But with her, I can't seem to fathom if I were to, let's say, subscribe to Aarohi or any learning or any kind of homeschooling, how would it work with her? That's my most because when I see her struggling to even read or write in the most conducive artistic ways, I sometimes feel like to drop everything and let her be. But I'm not able to because I don't have the means to. Also, I don't have my spouse's support on this. But that's besides the point. The child itself, like she wants to go have fun at school and come back. So that's the thing.
No, no, I think it's a very long thing. I'm actually forgetting what the initial start when it started. So the point here is, child wants to do things in her way, and but it's somewhere unstructured and unorganized, some sort of thing for you. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and her major, what should I say? Her strongest desire, if I were to observe her from let's say 5 months old till now, she only wants to be under the sky, like literally outside the home.
Fair enough, fair enough. It's good, no? So, okay. So there is something that she wants to do, and she wants to be under the sky. And under the sky, there are many things. So I think we should be fine with that. Uh, and I am sure, like, see, these are all phases. I believe. I don't know how old your child is. I typically feel every person has certain phase in life where they want to do things in a certain way, explore things, and then beyond that, gradually, everybody moves on to different something different. I know I'm not saying she will move on to what you are expecting, but she will probably move on to something else, and that would be different from what she's doing right now, and that would be her way of living. So, because we don't know every single child or every single family in the entire world, right? So probably everybody practices their own way, and you can probably create things with her. I would say, wherein you can work with her, sit with her, talk with her, maybe play something with her if you want to as a family, or your elder child, something like that. If that works, whatever. But I feel just let her be and just observe. Someday something will just crop up. And I'm not saying it is not happening right now. I'm saying something is happening right now. Also, probably we are not able to see it. So that's the only thing.
So I had heard a talk, not one of such calls. I don't know. There was a basically YouTube session where you were explaining. Ratnesh was explaining how children lie. That how we do any to because there is a need. So when my need is unmet or I'm not heard or whatever, so basically there is a children. There was a parent asking that my child is lying or whatever, and you explained this very nicely that how that need is not getting met, or basically he wants to do something that he will not get permission to, therefore he's lying, or something like that. So similarly, um, I feel that she has a need which she herself is not able to express, and I am not able to see. Okay, because जो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, मतलब ठहराव नहीं है. She's just trying to liberate and run around, but she's basically not able to really gather herself and say, I even want this. Like even deciding between two t-shirts is hard for her. The thing is that, so anyway, it's a longer question, but I'm trying to understand in the context of open schooling, what would you do, for example, those of you already open schooling, if you saw a child like this?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned that you're possibly talking about my childhood. So first of all, I think where Pranav is, I'm with Pranav. We whatever you shared was beautiful, right? And there is, at least I don't see any question or a doubt or a confusion there. To me, in fact, I see very clear somebody who wants to lead her life, and she's leading in her way. Yeah, whatever is that way, that may not be similar to how we would like somebody to be, but she's that way, and she wants to lead it that way. And how about just, I think what Pranav is also subtly saying, how about just let her lead? She's already leading so strongly, isn't it? She wants to do things the way she wants to be out. She wants to meet people. She wants to, what you call as play or whatever. I don't, I mean, play to people think is frivolous. To us, that's the core of life. So if she wants to do things the way she wants to do things, including her struggles, that's her life, and she's already leading it. So in that sense, I don't see a question as Pranav was saying. So what is the question then? So we don't see a question because how you are, what you're talking about is superb. It's fine. It's great. It's awesome. And if you're saying, have we seen children like that? I would say definitely many, including myself. Right? I can go on and tell about my childhood and it will match exactly what you were talking about your daughter, right? Totally outside, totally not wanting to do anything, failing in subjects and all kinds of things, you know. And I'll give you an example from my mother's side that my mother and father, when I failed in sixth standard, yes, sixth or seventh standard, sorry, I've forgotten now. Uh, I failed in a particular subject, and that was Sanskrit, because that required rote learning, and I just couldn't take that. Yeah, and that I have to mug this up and write it down. So I failed it in the final exam, and my mother went ahead and fought with the school, saying, "Please excuse him from this subject only. Remove the subject. Don't remove the child. Remove the subject." And the school actually agreed at that time. So I'm just saying she was so much with the child.
Be a man she is with, to say, like, relax her boundary a little more, or let her be a little more. So the thing is that, to the point that even the home environment is like that, in the sense she finds that, not
Yeah,
just
so
school.
that
See,
is
because
where,
I
yeah.
spoke to Preeti on the previous Sunday call, at least her child is happy with the pair, happy with whatever else she's doing. Her case is not that.
Wait. Yeah.
So that
So that the other thing so one is the acceptance part, and I see a leader there. I'm not talking from a day-to-day experience. Obviously, I've not experienced your child, and each person is unique. But what we are saying is that you already have a leader, and when we say that the child is a leader, I don't. I'm hoping people are not coming up with the image of a perfect leader who takes perfect decisions. There's no perfect leader in this world. There are no perfect decisions. The best of the leaders have made the biggest of the mistakes. What we are trying to say is that the child leading or the child taking responsibility itself is a journey of, not simple journey, it's a struggleful journey. And that is the beauty of journey. That is not the problem of journey.
you're
If
saying
we,
they evolve to the stage where they learn to take that responsibility if they
yes,
are left
yes.
to follow their own interests.
Yes, and they will evolve
That's the
throughout
way
their
they learn.
life. It is
Yeah.
not that they at 18, at 25, at 50, they would have evolved. Even at this age, I'm still evolving to understand my own life. Right? So I'm saying that's an ongoing journey. And if we understand that that's a journey we all are living, and that is how the child, it's gonna be like that. And if you say the home environment, well, I think the whole thing is all about co-creation, which also Pranav talked about, that let's when we say the child drives it, then the whole idea is we sit together and we say, okay, what is it each one of us wants to do, not what you want to do. I will talk about what I would suppose. Let's say right now on video it's me, you, and Induja. So let's say we three are family. We'll sit together and say, okay, Induja, let's talk about what she wants to do today or tomorrow, whatever, whenever we are planning for. You will say what you are doing, I will say what we are doing, what I am doing. We'll discuss, give feedback, whatever we want to do, what resources, what help each one needs, what help is possible, what help is not possible, right? All the constraints are there in life, because I may say I want to go to the beach and play, but obviously that may not be practically possible. So on and so forth. And in that sense, we co-create our day, and then we review again in the evening or next day, the how was yesterday, and then we do the next day, and then the next week, and that's the next month. So it's not about what each one is doing, but it's all about this whole co-creation where we are one day at a time, understanding each other, more importantly, understanding our needs, putting it out, seeing what is possible, what is not possible. We may plan 100 things, end up doing only 35 or 62 or whatever is the number. We may be happy with some, unhappy with another. If you really zoom out, that is what life is. We have to live a day at a time, and nothing will go perfectly, picture perfect, whichever
And
age.
how important do you think is the participation of the entire family in this process?
Well, let's start with whoever wants to participate and then see how the family evolves. Just like an individual evolves, the family also evolves, right? As well as whether if you want to be part of a community, how do you engage with the community evolve? So I'm saying all of these are just dynamics. But let's start with whoever wants to be engaged in it, whoever sees value, whoever says, I want to, yes, I want to. Maybe somebody will just listen and not participate. Maybe somebody will participate a little. Maybe there's a grandparent who would be cynical about it. Hey, this is the way to do it. No, no, no. You go to school, you do this subject. That's the way to do it. And that's a very common question we are asked, that, grandparents are not agreeing, or whatever, one family, one spouse is not agreeing. It's not about agreeing. If you all had to agree and all in sync and everything picture perfect, then that is not life. The life is all about all these dynamics, and the idea is not to convince everybody. The idea is to see how slowly we kind of listen and value and let each one lead their life, including ours. The mistake I would say most parents do is they think, okay, now abhi aa jao, okay Induja beta, now you have to plan your day, tell me what all you are doing. Well, but that's not co-creation. That's still, now I'm becoming your teacher, I'm taking over your responsibility. But if I am sharing, Induja, this is what I am going to do today, and Induja says, I don't want to share what I want to do today. Okay, bye. See you. In the evening, I again share with Induja, this was how my day is. And Induja says, I am not going to share how my day was. I'll say, fair enough. When you are ready, you share. But that doesn't stop me from being a co-creator. So I start with myself. It has to begin with me. That's why I say it's a family thing. It's not a child thing that you're creating an education system for the child. Yeah, I don't know if that is all making sense, but again, I keep telling people, do it at a day at a time, not like one big thing that, oh, I have to now plan and I have to reflect. Don't go by these words. Just see what works with you first, and then with your children, and then with other members in the family, and slowly evolve that over a period of time. And it'll keep changing. Let me see who else would like to share on this.
Thank
Uh,
you so much.
yeah, but if that is, okay, Ruchika is there. Ruchika, jump in.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Ratnesh. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I joined late, but whatever I could grab in last few minutes, the conversation, I think she's talking completely about my child in that way.
See,
So,
Rituparna, you will get the same answer everywhere.
yeah. So, as they're doing. I just have one thing to say, that we feel they're doing nothing, but they're doing so much in their mind. So much is going on. They're doing so many things. There are days, I have observed her that she just wants to listen to only music and dance around in the house. She wants to change 10 dresses in a day, and she wants to pose in front of the mirror and all that. And according to me, as an adult, if you really look at it, oh, what she's done nothing. She has just messed the whole room around. But why are we not change the narrative in that way? She is being creative. Maybe she is just wants to try out fashion. She just maybe wants to try out different, poses in front of the mirror, and God knows what's going on in their mind. So there are days when she doesn't want to even share sometimes that what are her plans are, as what Ratnesh said very rightly. So I just leave it. It's okay. As far as she's busy with her stuff, I think that is more than sufficient. More than sufficient. You be busy with your stuff. Stuff is the word. You be busy with your stuff, and she is busy with her stuff. I think things are happening, things are moving, and they will reach somewhere. They will reach somewhere, because I know what you're talking about, your fear or whatever. I have definitely overcome all those fears, because I know she's doing something. But as an adult, we look for outcomes, we look for results, we look for some concrete thing to be seen. Why? Why everything has to has a shape? Why not things remain only in the mind, in their own ways, in their own world, the way we have our own world? I don't know, am I making sense or something? But I can totally relate it what you're saying. I was there few years back like this.
Yes, I think that's important. But we all go through this phase of anxiety and we don't know, we feel lost. We think only our child is like this. But yeah, I guess all of us are like this. That's why I
No,
started
the
off. I
biggest
was
thing is
like this.
I'm happy to raise 20 children like that. But alone is the problem.
No, no,
That's
no,
my
no, no, no.
primary question.
Yeah, yeah. You are not
So
alone.
I'm
You're not
always
alone. You're
happy that
already
I've
two.
10
No,
children.
no,
You're already
no, it's
two.
not
You add
about,
your
yeah,
third
it's
child,
not,
you're
In
yeah.
already
general,
three.
I'm always raising 6 children in minimum on
Okay.
any
So,
average
so
day.
Rituparna,
If
stop
it's
raising children. Don't raise them.
Yeah,
That's the
I
mistake
agree.
you are doing. Don't
yeah,
raise them. They will raise
yeah.
themselves. The moment you step out of the leadership thing, that it is my responsibility, it's my onus, I have to,
Actually, raising is a long term. It's actually a very strong term. I
yeah.
would say
Let's
that giving them an environment to who
No, you don't, please don't
they
give them anything, no environment, no nothing. Why are you taking up any responsibility on you? Every responsibility which you can delegate to the child will make the child a stronger person, isn't it? So delegate, delegate, delegate till you have a clean table of your own thing. I think what Ruchika said is you should be busy with your things, and your thing is not your child. Sorry, you're on mute.
No, I'm saying that's good to know. That's what I'm mostly busy with, my own work. So,
Yes, yes. Okay, let's have more thoughts. Yeah, Shipra, you can jump in and we can have more questions. But this was a good discussion, I think, valuable discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, although my own issues are quite different, but I think listening to Rituparna, what I think she's overcome that, etc. That was really nice. But I think Rituparna's basic thing is that since the child wants to be out of the home all the time, it is extremely difficult in practical terms to let the child be and let the child do what it wants. This is the 21st century. Most of us are, especially if it's a little girl. I'm bringing up some very practical issues. Your group is a wonderful one where one, agrees with most of what you said about letting the child be its own leader, choose what it wants to do, why go in for formal education, etc., etc., etc. Those are wonderful utopian ideal things, and it's wonderful that there are some of us who can afford to do that. I think Rituparna's basic problem is it wasn't raising 20 children, or as you said, there's no need for her to raise them. I don't think she meant exactly that. What she meant is if she had that many children around all the time, it would be no problem at all. She wouldn't be coming up with a situation or a question or
absolutely.
anything.
I love
Yeah.
how
So,
each one is like I'm feeling felt in each of these responses. Thank you so much, Shipra, for bringing this up too.
yeah, because I can understand that when the child wants to be out of the home all the time on the
Wait, wait,
streets,
wait,
here and
Shipra.
there, it's
We are
too
not
young to be
pause,
left
pause,
alone.
pause, 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 pause. We are not trying to say that there will not be practical difficulties. Even a 55-year-old faces practical difficulties, right? It's not about age, it's not about gender. Let's take that out of our mind. What is important is who is facing that difficulty. Now, if Rituparna is facing the difficulty, that's the wrong person facing difficulty. If there is a difficulty, her daughter should be facing the difficulty, finding her own solutions within the boundaries of safety and practicalities and money and budgets and everything. Right? So we are not talking about any utopian ideas. We're talking about all of us are doing it day in, day out, week in, week out, cities, villages, wherever you want to. It's not that anything makes it very unique. What she's saying is everybody's stories, whether it's Ruchika's stories, whether it's Pranav's stories, whether it's our stories. Please don't think that your story is different. Everybody has constraints. Everybody has limitations. That's why I say we don't live in a free society. We live in a responsible society. The question is, who is responsible for her needs? If we are worrying our head over how to fulfill her needs, then you will always be worrying. If she is worrying about how she can manage her needs, then that becomes interesting. Then that leads to very interesting conversations, solutions, options, and so on and so forth. It is very, very interesting. And I am only saying it's interesting. I'm not saying it's easy or difficult because that's not what we are trying. We're not trying to make it easy, neither trying to make it difficult. That's not the scale we are using. We are using the scale of joy of living, which includes a lot of struggles, which includes a lot of navigating. And that is what is open learning. Open learning does not mean anything will become easier. It only means that it will become me. It will come out of me, and that is the joy. That is the joy of actually doing it and creating it and creating my life. So we are not trying to create something rosy and nice. We're trying to create our day, which is tough, which is interesting, which is joyous, but it's tough. So I'm saying, yes, all of those things are taken. We have all gone through it. I have also had a girl, every boy or his young children, old children, outdoor, indoor, people's person, alone person. So we'll have all kind of characteristics. Please don't worry about that. And you're not alone. We are all there. We have all been through in some form of the other all of these journeys. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. The important point again and again I'm reinforcing is to actually let the child lead, which means I shouldn't be worrying. I should be listening, observing, enjoying, noting down, or whatever, being there for the child. When we say let the child be, we don't mean let the child be alone. We say let the child, you are being with the child. You're all the time with the child, listening, observing, collating, trying to understand what is it that she's doing, how she's thinking, how she's navigating, and so on. And if she is happy with it going to a school, but not to study, but to be with friends, great. I mean, why not? Awesome. Till when you can enjoy that, enjoy that. But let there be clarity between maybe you and her, at least, if not the school, that you don't need to do any test, you don't need to pass anything, you don't have to do what you don't like to do, because that's all artificial actually is. Unless she says, I want to do it. If somebody is academically oriented and wants to do all kinds of studies and all kinds of exams, great. That's that person's choice. That is why we call it open learning. It's up to the individual to decide.
Thank you so much, Satmesh, and everyone for leaning into this discussion. It
No,
did.
no, this is the
It
core
will
of it. This is the core
definitely
of it.
leave me a tad bit wiser.
Yeah, but let's have more thoughts, more
Yeah,
questions.
Rajati, go on.
Yeah, hi. So, like I said, we are recently into homeschooling. Ruchika is here. I met Ruchika in one of the homeschooling meets, so I got so excited to see her here as well. So, I, it has always been child-led at home. So initially it was Montessori, which kind of connected to our thought process and our parenting style. That Kyra should just have her own way of doing her own way in whichever way that she likes. Only thing that we avoided was screen time at a very early age. We said that we will raise this, or we will be together as a no screen family. So we used to go do a lot of outdoor stuff, and now we have seen that the kind of interest that she has in music and in couple of other things, that we don't have time for school. So therefore we had to talk to her and ask her that, because the school is also trying to put pressure about spending more time at school. For example, for her performances, theater and plays and all this is very important to watch. And we were not able to balance that. My husband and I, we said that maybe getting her out of school and letting her be. I don't know. I think there's a sense of peace, happiness. I don't know that. I just want to say that it's just like a flower blooming. Like people used to say these things, and I'm in behavioral skills area, and I talk about these kind of things like the brain fires and wires and blah blah, and you have curiosity, but I've never seen it in real in a human being, that the human being can be like that. So my child is fine if she has a friend, she is fine if she doesn't have a friend, she is fine if she gets something in whatever she participates, she doesn't care if she doesn't. So she's so happy with herself. I uh, i just have this one thing that's eating me up from within, and I don't know how I'm going to tackle this, because just like you said, I am that adult most of the time with whom she is. How am I dealing with my baggages? How like you said that you sit and do the scheduling, right? And I am not used to that kind of scheduling, and sitting and doing these things, and I am not used to that. So I am coming across as this one which is not fitting in. So I need a lot of unlearning that I need to go through to be open to new things. I just want you to give me some tips about, as an adult, how do I deal with my anger or my issues? Not with the child. I have no problem with the child. She promises something, she does. She does not do. She is sorted. But couple of things that I may have. My aging dad. My some problem with my brother. I mean, that comes up, and I am this very angry human being walking around, and I wear those glasses of, oh, so sometimes I feel it's better that I am not around, or it's better that she's not around. So if you could just give me some like I'm sure there's a lot of work, and that's why the community is there, and I'm also being open and taking the community, asking the community also to help me out. So I just want you to just give me some tips about, or some things that I can do to deal with myself.
Ratish, can I talk?
Please, why are you asking
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
You are the
Rajati, I
boss.
think that the best person to learn something of what you are saying is your child, because they are brilliant and they are absolutely like best at this. They move on in life, they do things, they don't take things as in like the way things we hold on to. So they are just so flowing, as you said, the flower is blooming. So they don't hold on to things. So I think the best teacher for us would be our child for the aspects that you are mentioning. And I would say, uh, this is my suggestion. Of course, you would have your own way. Be more into what you would like to do. Maybe something like painting or music, or maybe doing something else, cooking or
Including
XYZ. Maybe
getting
even
angry. Please be
exactly. Yeah,
angry. What's the
yeah,
problem?
yeah, yeah,
Please be yourself. Please be angry.
yeah,
Please be worried. Please be whatever you are. Right? Don't think there's anything wrong. What's this baggage?
yeah.
Everything we have is a baggage only. Right? So please don't hate that part of the baggage. Love that part of the baggage. Yeah, sorry, Pranav. I couldn't resist
Yeah,
it.
I'm just saying, like, just try and engage yourself into things that you love to do. Be more into that, and automatically you will find that peace. That somewhere you will find some change in yourself, because we try to take too many things along all with us, and then we lose ourselves in that process. So when we find ourselves, you realize, hey, the child is fine, you are fine, and as a family, you both are good. So this is what I have learned in my whatever 4 years of journey.
So
Can
it's
I add something to this? Like, as you said, Rajati, about anger or about your emotions and all. What Pranav, I think, said that also in his sharing. Talk to your child, share your emotions, whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, just share it with them. We feel, oh, they're too young to understand. No, it is actually not like that. What you're saying, there are times when I go through this, some anger, some kind of irritability or something. Oh, I planned something, it didn't happen. Things didn't go the way I planned my day. It happens. Nothing is perfect. As like Ratnesh also said, it's nothing like a picture perfect. Open learning is all about this failing, falling, learning. All this is all about that. Talk to them. What are you feeling? What are your emotions? What are you going through? Oh, I want to do this, but this is not happening. What do you think I should do about it? Or there is all the time I feel tension on my face myself. How do you look at it? Ask your child, she will give you a beautiful perspective of your own emotion. You will not even imagine. You'll be surprised to see the way they look at us. The way, because there are times my daughter, tells me, Mama, just chill. She's not here with me. She's at my mom's place. And I called her yesterday and she was just little bit sniffing. I said, what happened? You have a cold. I said, don't worry, I'm fine. If I have a cold, I know what medicine to take. I'll tell the nanny to get it for me. Don't worry about that. So I am not worried at all. It's been 24 hours. She has not called me. I'm seriously not even thinking about it because she's so busy. So talk to them, share with them.
that's wonderful. Okay, so I had this whole thing in my head saying that I was talking, but then I realized that I don't think, because every time I meet my dad, I tell her that, but I need some time for myself because my dad is getting older and there is a huge emotion that I have that something might happen to him. So I am not myself when I come back home after meeting him. So I keep telling her that you need to give me some time. I mean, I'm not that bubbly and I don't want to cuddle. I just want to soak in my emotions of feeling bad that Appa is old. Okay, and he's not like the way he used to be before. So okay, so I spoke about it, and then something else occurred to me, that what if I'm burdening her with my emotions? Some brain that is so small, why should she think so much about, oh, old age, oh, this is going to happen? So I just told her, when I meet Tata, I need some time for myself. Okay, I cannot just be bubbly and all laughing and cuddly. I just need about 20 minutes away from everybody else. She understands that, and she gives me that time.
So Rajdi, if you allow me to intervene, is somewhere the world seems to have thrown that this is what you need to learn, and rest of the things are not important, right? So a child is supposed to learn mathematics, okay, a plus b whole square, whatever, okay, but is not supposed to understand emotions. Is not supposed to know what is illness or what is anxiety. That is not talked about. That is not taught. That is not learned. That is not explored. That's the problem. We have cut our lives into things. But a child is a complete human being. Even a 6-month-old will cry if she is uncomfortable in somebody's lap, right, or hands. So what I'm trying to say is open learning embraces every aspect of our life as core curriculum. There is nothing extracurricular. Everything is curricular because that's our life. That's why we say open learning is equal to living, is equal to education. So living and education is not different. So what you are going through and what she is going through because of whoever is there as part of the family, or whatever other problems, like how um, uh, you know the others were talking about before you, it Rituparna was talking about, Sipra was talking about. All of these things are part of our life, and that is the core curriculum because it's happening to us today. Yeah. So let's not try to say that we have to project or do something for them, that we have to do activities for them, or we have to make things bubbly or nice for them. Nothing. Life is how it is, how this day arrives, what all it brings. That is the curriculum of life. If you want to turn your head away from it, you can do that, but it won't go away. Right? The good and the bad and the ugly all are part of the curriculum. And that is why we prefer open learning. Somebody was asking, why do open learning? Because that is what is life. Life doesn't come sliced into subjects and say, abhi ye 5 ho gaya, abhi okay, now you can live the rest of it. You can't. There's no optional. There's nothing elective in life. Everything is there. We can select it. So life is selective, not elective. And what we select is part of our life. Yeah. And it may sound philosophical, but it's not philosophical. It is what it is. Yeah,
Can I add a real
yes,
real life
please,
example?
Pranav.
Real example. I have certain health concerns, and I have my daughter was like 7 whenever, and then now she's 11, and I have always shared with her, this is my health issues, this is my disease, this is what can happen to me, X Y Z, and she has been understanding it so well. So now she also understands why the dad is at times probably very tired and irritable. I become very irritable at times. Like I just come home and I just blast for no reason. Probably it would not be that major issue, but then she understands. She understands. She gives me that space, and then she is there cuddling me, hugging me, making me a kind of sort of relax. So trust me, the children are excellent. They understand this, and they she really cares for me now, and she has learned this aspect of her life through my example. This is how the life is, and this is how she needs to take things when things come like this, and she has grown that way. So I think we need to be like open with our children, like Ruchika mentioned, share our emotions, share our frustrations, whatever it is. And I'm not saying after that things might not happen. She'll not do certain things. She may do, but at least she'll understand
Yeah.
when we speak. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. And somewhere I don't feel that pressure. That's why for me, I'm so happy because it gives me time. Because my child used to keep saying one thing before that, Amma, I feel nobody loves me. Somewhere she used to say that word. I feel that nobody loves me. I said, doesn't matter, nobody, but Amma loves you. But sometimes, what, you shout at me. But now, from the time we've stopped school, how much ever ruckus I create or something happens and I'm not around, she just says, I know you love me at the end of the day, Amma. Because I think there's so much of love that she can feel throughout the day. Throughout the time, there is so much. So there is no disconnect that she sees. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, more open communication and conversations, and we have so much time to sort it out anyways. So nobody is in a hurry. Thank you all.
I have this question, like for the kids who have gone to normal school and their parents decide on going for homeschooling or open learning. Now they do not have a schedule, they do not have timetables, they do not have somebody, uh, you know, putting the schedule on time, right? They do not have an authority in their lives, as in somebody like a teacher. So that being said, what if the, like, there's freedom for them to explore and much more, but it's somehow their responsibility. What if it gets super overwhelming at times and the kid, does not know where to go to? Of course, they can go to their moms, dads. What if the parents are confused themselves because they're also new into homeschooling? Like, this is a hypothetical question, I know, but it's just something that raised in my mind because I have gone to normal school only, but now in the college we're somehow free. We have we can set up our own schedule. Now I feel super overwhelmed for this only. But what if I had all my my life's responsibilities on myself? At that situation I might burst out. I don't know. I mean, what if a kid, like let's say 12, 13-year-old kid who's gone to school but now into homeschooling, what if at that point of time the kid is overwhelmed? What can they do?
Yeah. So in the just two quick things. One is being overwhelmed is a beautiful curriculum, right? It just shows that yes, I am now, this is a beautiful way for me to understand myself and understand how do I want to do things and how much I want to do and so on and so forth. So that stage of being overwhelmed is beautiful. It is a curriculum. It is not something to be shooed away or hope that I'll just cross it in one day, right? You could be overwhelmed when you get married and you will have a whole new family. You can be overwhelmed when you have a child. You can be overwhelmed when you have a new job or a new city. So overwhelm is not something you will meet only at this age. You will meet it throughout. Overwhelmness is something you will meet, throughout your life. Uh, so that gives a relief both to the child and the parent that okay, it's not that I have to get out of this. It's something troublesome space that I've got myself into. Yeah. The second thing is every single individual is different. So their overwhelmness and their confusion and chaos is also different. And hence there is no one way to do it. Yeah, each one will evolve in a different way, and with parents around, or community around, or friends around, and they will have their own ways. As you said, the parents themselves can be lost. So again, each individual will have his her own journey of doing it. Like I think Shipra was saying, if I remember correctly, she has two daughters, 16 years, somewhere on that, right, Shipra? So each would have their own journey of doing that and how one goes about doing it on oneself and designing one's life. Like how you said in college, you are doing it in one way. Maybe I did it in a different way, and so on. So that's the uh, once we take these 2 points, then it becomes much easier to respond to it and say, okay, one, it's fine, and two, there is no perfect way of doing it. It's not like every day you have to be a cool person. You can do it your way, I will do it my way, and so on. Yeah, but we can have more thoughts because this is again nothing to do with the age. It could be a 16-year-old struggling or a 6-year-old struggling. Whether one is in school or whether one is not in school, one could be struggling in any part of one's life.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
But more people can share thoughts about that. In some ways, we have all gone through that actually. We all did start with this, overwhelmingness. And not that we are sorted right now, we are assorted. Does that make sense? We are not sorted people. We are always assorted with all kinds of things in our life, and including this whole thing about how to take responsibility.
So when I unschooled Kirtana this year, she was still fifth, she was in a school. And it was my decision that I'm going to unschool her. It was not my husband, or my daughter was not even ready for it. And she said, "You're not going to school." She was happy about it. Oh, no exams, and I can sleep for longer time because both a happy moment for the mother and the daughter. You don't wake up at 5 o'clock to make a breakfast and pack the child and pull her out of the school house at 6:50 for the bus. So she was so much happy about it. But then I was just identifying the ways of how to engage her because I wasn't aware of Aarohi that time. But then I was trying to find out ways what is her interest, but still she's clueless about it. I'm okay about it also. Suddenly she'll have interest in pets and she'll start exploring about fishes, and one day she'll leave with that interest. And now she's at the back of Sun Cornea and she says, I want a bird, I want to tame it, I want to do this, that. And she wants puppies at home. So all are there in my houses. I have a dog, she's sleeping next to me because of her. My birds are chirping, my fishes are there. So her interest, is haywired now. And then I just chose that since she's just out of school, she shouldn't miss her subjects first. Maybe as a normal parent, I thought she should have the track of, learning the subjects. So I chose teachers from different parts of the places to understand how they're going to teach. And they were very good in their way of educating. There was a teacher, a whole teacher from our old school, and she was literally like a CBSE teacher. So she used to give 1 mark question answer test, 2 mark question answer test, 3 mark. Then I had to call her and say, I'm not for this. And I just want to know whether my daughter has understood the subject. Please make sure that, because she lost the speed of writing. Maybe COVID made all the children's lose that style of writing fast or coping up. And after the COVID over, when the child went to the school had pressurized the children so much that you need to write. And every day when she comes from school, she used to have cuts in her hands, which bleeds. So that's the time I decided, I think I'm doing something wrong for the child. So I told, no, we are not doing this. Whatever it comes to you, let's do that. And she really scored well in spite of, and her subject knowledge was very good because it was an individual concentration given to her. She absorbed, she was really very bad at math. Whenever we talk about math, she used to run away. She says, no, I don't want. But the teacher who taught her, she started enjoying it. But beyond this is what is unschooling, is what I felt. Like, it's not bookish. It's not that. I don't want to judge her personally. Like she can only do this. I'm also not, I'm very clueless about what's her talent all about. She's a raw piece for me, even though, I don't want to put her that she's not good at dance, she's not good at singing, she's not doing anything. She knows to paint, but because nowadays kids are put in that pressure to show the society how my child is performing before all the other children. This is what the school is trying to show. This is what the parents are trying to show to the society. Like, this is what my child is, she's scored this much, she's in this class, she's going to that class. So much is happening to the child where the child loses its own self. So I am just putting her raw, and this is the time that I chose that I have to put her onto a community where she can evolve as an individual and find herself in the next few years, that I'm being born for this. The purpose of life as a girl, what she has to do and what she has to, there is time. I am not in a rush. There is a lot of time for her. I want to give that time to her. And as you told, it is not that, overwhelming. It is a lot of responsibility. I was at guilt sometime, today when we were in the function to go to school, she said, Amma, I think I should have gone to school, right? Then again, she came back and said, no, I'm enjoying the space of unschooling. Only thing is I'm missing my friends. I said, yes. So I'm putting, as I said, that there is a community that where you're going to go and you'll have a lot of friends, different age group. And she was ready for it. So this is a transition child for the child herself, because she's thinking in her own self a lot. We need to just, allow her to tell, and we are saying her, I'm giving something best with the other parents are not giving to you. In a world of, with so much of pressure to school, ranks, grades, and positions, we are coming out of that and putting her onto a raw place. So this is something overwhelming, but we need to handle that. So the stages are going, like, that's the reason I took a whole year. I didn't put her onto so many things. I said, just go to a dance class, enjoy your pace. If you want to do asana pranayama with me, come, I'll teach you. If not, it's fine. Just enjoy your childhood. You're just 10 years in this world. And why so much of pressure? Just be you and let's find the way, was my decision. So
Super.
maybe June, I will be here with Aarohi for the first session. And I want my child to understand what life is as her own decisions. I don't want to put anything of my thoughts to her. Let her come out with her thoughts. So this is it.
Anand, I would just like to make one small correction in the whole statement that you made. Don't say that other parents are not giving something which I am giving you. Don't get into that mindset. It's a very dangerous mindset. So and don't say I am giving. If the child wants something, that the child
Yes,
will take. So rather don't get into that mindset. We are
corrected,
not trying to
corrected.
establish anything that is good or bad here. So just that a small correction here.
Thank you.
If nobody has a question, I'll wait for some time and I have another question.
No, you can go ahead and ask. As I was putting in the chat also, we meet every Saturday. So it's not like your questions are unanswered forever. You can come back next Saturday and next Saturday. Plus, we have a WhatsApp group. So please don't worry. We have enough space to answer. I want to add one more thing. You can also have one-to-one chats with other families of, especially when some parents say, I want a family of similar age to my child. So please write to us. We will give you links and phone numbers of other families who are very eager to help you uh, and support you. And no, Induja, it's not only for parents. Anybody interested in open learning, you can join the WhatsApp group. Yeah. You can go ahead. Yeah, Shipra is back. Shipra, you can also share. So please go ahead. Let the ball keep rolling.
Yeah, whosoever. Okay. So basically, actually, I'm not able to attend these things. I just can't get away for at a stretch. There's always something or the other that keeps coming up, which is why I'm sorry I sort of went off for a while. About what Induja said about having been through regular school and all that, and suddenly you find you're on your own, having to decide your own schedule, you're your own boss, etc. Yeah, that is there, except that my older child is very happy with being her own boss and basically not doing anything, which is sort of the kind of person I was as well. But whatever, I've gone through most of my life, so whichever way it was. So with her, that worry is not there. That okay, so far it was regulated, regular school, etc. In fact, she'll be very happy to be out of that regular schooling thing. And we had toyed with the idea earlier also of going in for open schooling, because the basic schooling is needed for one very simple reason, which I told her, and which she sort of understood. I said, look, to get a passport, like your earlier chart had mentioned, this is what learning is about: self, then family, then friends, then neighbors, and the city, the country, and the world. So the world is open to you only if you have a passport,
Yeah,
which is
Shipra,
why
but for passport, you don't require education. Both my children have
uh,
not gone to school. They have passports and they both
yeah,
travel
except
abroad.
that you need to go to the office to get an ECNR stamp every time you want to go out if you don't have a certain basic level of
That's a
education.
very, very small thing. For that, one
Well,
doesn't
I
need
don't
to
know.
give
I have faced,
examination.
yeah, I faced enough of government offices where you have to stand in queues, and then they have 100 other questions and things like that. So I said, you get this one basic thing at least. If you'll excuse me for just half a
Sure,
minute.
sure, sure.
हेलो. हाँ. कितने 6:40. ठीक है. ओके. So sorry. So yeah, except that there are enough of struggles, as you mentioned, in life. So I said, let's try and get this one basic struggle out of the way, because if you really want to travel, then having to go through government offices each time is an extremely unpleasant thing. There's enough unpleasantness in life, the ones we can try and avoid. Let's try and do it. So no harm if since you've been through regular school so far, try and get it. So that was one reason for continuing with regular school and getting that class 10 thing, because I said, if you have aspirations and you want to travel and things, make it a little simpler for yourself. There'll be enough problems as it is. So now, whatever, fingers crossed, exams over. Hopefully the results will pull us through. And but open school after that, because at least 2 years I wanted to give her the freedom to find herself as to what she wanted to do, etc., etc., etc. So hopefully when she joins college back again, to have peers to to argue with and to play with on a regular basis, it'll be back to regular thing. But 2 years is the break that
But
a lot
please
of
tell me,
different.
Shipra, why do you need a college to have peers? You can have peers,
No,
as many
I
peers
said on
as
a
you want.
regular basis.
Yes,
Yes,
on a
absolutely.
regular basis. I'm not talking about, I'm just
No,
saying, is college
because
the only way
yeah,
to
I
have
agree.
peers? That's a very costly way of getting peers when you can get them for free. Right? You don't have
Uh,
to pay a college fees to get peers.
yeah,
What
except
I'm
that
trying to
she
wait,
is
wait, wait.
not
No, no, pause,
really.
pause, pause. What I'm trying to bring in is that I'm just trying to bring in the question of we have taken certain things as default. That college one has to go, 10th one has to do, 12th one has to do. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's one way of doing it. But if we just take it as default, we are trying to tell children that you don't have choices. That's what I want to bring in, not just for you, but for your children and for every child. I want to tell every child, man, you have choices. Choices how you want to live your life, which peers you want, how you make friends, how you learn something. One doesn't need to go and get a certificate only to prove to the world that I'm good enough, because you don't need to prove anything to the world if you don't want to. If you want to prove, please go become a topper, nothing wrong or right about it. But you don't have to. The point is not whether one thing is right or one thing is wrong, whether dosa is right or whether idli is right. No, both are right. It's a choice. Should I say to every child that
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you have to eat dosa only, and no idli, still you do certain things? So that's the whole point. So when you brush it aside by saying that okay, college for peers, no, no, wait, that is where I want to pause and say no, 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 no. We need to reframe our way of thinking and saying that's one way to get friends. But there you are literally getting friends based on whoever is being supplied to you. While in your life, you can actually go out and make friends with whomever you want to make friends to. Right? And then there is an option that you want to. That's the perspective I wanted to bring in. Because that
No,
perspective is
no, I,
not talked about. No, you may be
yeah,
aware of it, but since this is
yeah.
a group discussion, this perspective is very important, that all of these are only structures which are not mandatory, right? Which there is a choice, and the choice need to be given to the child. That's my only point. Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah, yeah. I endorse that fully. In fact, I belong to a much older generation. I was given that choice by my father, who otherwise was very conventional, well read, etc., etc., but extremely liberal. I was all ready to quit school after class 10, saying, I'm going to become a tailor. So he said, are you absolutely sure you don't want to study further? I said, no, no chance. So he said, okay. They had just introduced vocational school, the vocational stream in schools long back. The government keeps changing its thing, kind of. So we searched for a thing, but unfortunately they didn't have a hostel, and this is where the practical aspect always comes in life. There was no hostel for girls, so he couldn't really send out a 15-year-old to another city to live on her own and do what she wanted to do. So anyway, so I went through the regular schooling and college and everything, but I hold with that entirely. If you have the luxury of not doing what what the norm, quote unquote, is, perfectly fine. I mean, you should definitely. And with my kids, the choice has always been there, right from class 8 onwards. Open school. If you don't like school, fine. My younger daughter, for instance, is no, no, I want to go to school because I have friends there. So I said, fine. My elder one is, I don't want to school. I don't want to go to school. I don't have friends there. I said, okay, fine. The only thing I did impose on them was the class 10 exam. And I think after this, it's full freedom for them. And they've known it throughout. So it was just the practical things that sort of,
Yeah.
one has to deal with
Sure.
at some stage,
Again,
sometime.
I'm again little bit. Again, it's not about you, Chipra. Again, because there's a
Yeah.
group discussion. We are again very not you, not necessarily, but a lot of us are conditioned that okay, if not this way, it has to be done this way. The thing is, we haven't knocked enough doors, and why we have not knocked enough doors is because we have not thought outside the box, and then we prevent the children to think outside the box. In fact, I would even go back to the time when your dad said that, okay, at 15, why couldn't you get into designing or dresses or tailoring? You don't need a college to become a tailor. Absolutely not. You don't need to go through any vocational course to become a tailor. You can just become a dress designer by stitching dresses right at home or working with a designer. Go and say to a designer, I want to work with you, who is the closest designer at your home, or for that matter, in any vocation. So, open learning, one of the most beautiful things about open learning is opens far many more options for anything. Because we start thinking how else we can do it. We don't have to do it just because everybody is doing it. right? Just because that's the way people have seen it. So that's, I think, very, very important, that if we are just going to hop from one option to another option, then it's again going to limit us. But the moment we get the child to start thinking, how else, how else, how else, right? So, for example, with one child I was discussing, he's 18, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm not getting that kind of an work internship kind of work." So I said, "Okay, what is the other option?" He said, "I can just start my own company." I said, "Yeah, that makes more sense." So why do you have to go for it now? Internship is the buzzword. Why do you have to go for internship? Just start your own company. Just start doing your work. Maybe you'll get smaller projects initially, but by the time the others will do internship, you will be earning and you will actually be doing the work that you want to do. So what I'm trying to say is that open learning suddenly opens up the options, and that's very, very important. That messaging is not given to children. I still think they still are only shown the very, oh, if not this, join a workshop. If not join workshop, join this course. Why even talk about course workshops as the only other option? Why not the 20 other options which even we don't know? But only possible if we start talking, thinking, exploring to a lot of people. If I go to so many people who have changed their careers, none of them have gone and again joined back to a college or a course. They've just started doing something else. Yeah, and that's wonderful. And I will rather interview those 20 people. How did you jump from this stream to that stream? And once I find out their recipe, I can do it as a 16-year-old also. Why not? Or a 15-year-old. One doesn't every time need the same conventional thing about somebody teaching, somebody teaching, somebody teaching.
Uh, I agree entirely with that. That's for the talented ones. If you're somebody like me who, was totally clueless about tailoring,
No, Shipra, I
then
don't
one
agree with
needs
you.
some,
I don't agree with you.
then
Completely
one needs
disagree
some
with your
help and some
statement. Sorry.
guidance.
Sorry, Shipra. No. Each
With
one of us
with
is talented if we have interest in it. The interest is the
uh,
important thing, not the talent. We don't need talent. We
yeah.
need
So maybe
interest.
with
If
me the
somebody is
interest
in,
was
if some, sorry,
uh,
if you are interested, you will
maybe,
learn it.
yeah.
That's as simple as that. If somebody is interested in something, somebody will learn it. Not the way, and
Yeah.
everybody doesn't need to become Sachin Tendulkar, but I can play cricket for the joy of playing cricket. Right? So that's the whole idea. Everybody doesn't need to be Sachin Tendulkar. Everybody doesn't need to be A.R. Rahman. Whoever can be wants to be great, but whoever wants to live their life of their joy, out of their interest, they can find millions of options. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think over there I had felt that I needed guidance. I was not capable of, I did want to learn that, I did want to do it, but I was not like all of us have this, that okay, I'm going to do this. With me it was, yes, I would like to do that, but I want guidance. I want to be in a regular structured thing where I'm taught how to do it, and that's how I want to learn. Like my
Sure,
younger daughter
sure,
wants to go to school, so
sure.
I guess that is why I was not was not able to go off in the field that I wanted to. Not that I'm unhappy with where I finally
Sure,
landed
sure,
up,
sure.
but whatever. I find that life in its practical aspect is not you cannot ignore it all the time. I mean, unless you are very talented, very determined, very what does one say, extremely sure of what you want to do. With me it was mostly negative. I don't want to study, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. What do you want to do? I still do not know.
Yeah. So I'm again, we will need to close at 6:30 already. We close at 6:30. But let me end by, yeah, Pranav is also point time check, is again saying what you are defining as practical. I only define as that as created structures. We have considered them as practical. Okay. But again, if we just look out of that window and don't call it practical, in fact, call it as one way of doing it. See, if we say highway is the only practical way of doing it, going to one city to another, you will always go the highway because that's the practical way of doing it. But there are so many other roads. There's so many other bylanes which we have not explored at all. And they are very practical. They are extremely practical. And I can say that with so much confidence because millions of people around me have left their degrees, left their education and doing completely different thing, including a whole lot of ladies becoming housewife, not following their degree, finding joy in just taking care of a home. Now, if all of that is is practical because they created that choice for themselves. It was not the educated or the laid out systems that one can call as practicals. So open learning invites you not to close those options, or rather open those up while considering whatever are the created structures as options, just options. There's nothing less practical or more practical. There is only options, and whichever whoever connects with, like you rightly said. So we'll pause the discussion for now. And I think you wanted to make one last thought. Okay, we'll let you have your last thought, and then we'll close things. We meet every Saturday, so we can have many more conversations and go deeper into it, relook into it. And also we have a WhatsApp group, so please use that. Please post your thoughts, and more people. That's a group of more than 1,000 people. So a lot of different views will come through that. So please use that also. And yes, we can, and also inviting you to come and visit and stay with us. Then maybe then when you live in a community like this, even for a week, then you realize, oh my goodness, things are totally seen very, very, very differently. Then we are not talking about practical things, talking about possibilities. So the key word to us is always, what are the possibilities? And we are always excited with lots of different possibilities. Our campus itself is full of such examples of what are the possibilities in life, which are totally against the so-called practical or the so-called structured or the so-called conventional ones. Not because we want to prove anything. We just want to share with children that, hey, live out of possibilities, because you are full of them and the world is full of them. That's the excitement we want to share with children. Finally, it's up to them what they choose. Yeah. So we will pause here, and invitation is there. Come stay with us, discuss in the groups, and keep continuing to come to the meetups. Yeah. So thank you. We'll pause here, and yeah, have a good weekend, and we'll stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.